As of January 1st, 2014, the new version of the PCI DSS standard takes effect. That's version 3.0. Businesses that are affected by PCI will have 12 months to incorporate the new standard or the new requirements into their compliance validation programs before the old version of the standard is no longer valid. There are three major updates that stand out when reviewing the new PCI DSS 3.0 standard. First is a greater focus and scrutiny on the actual intent and effectiveness of the security controls used to meet the requirements, rather than just the requirement itself. It's imperative that organizations now gain greater control over their in-scope infrastructure and that the security solutions that they use to protect it will adequately help them understand and prove its effectiveness. The second concentration is to clarify that the security goals are met within each requirement and that there is adequate measure to ensure and prove the fulfillment of those requirement goals. It'll be important that organizations have greater visibility into the infrastructure in order to ensure and help prove that requirements are constantly being met, rather than at a given point in time. Finally, there's an increased focus on testing to ensure that the requirements are met and validated. By working with solutions that can help businesses sort out what critical changes and events are most important to them in the business process, they'll be able to control critical change in order to lower the administrative burden that's usually associated with collecting data for requirement validation. So let's look at a few of the new requirements and how Bit9 Security Platform can help meet and exceed both security and compliance with regards to these changes. The first change that I'd like to outline is the changes in Requirement 5. The new 5.1.1 requirement states, ensure that anti-malware programs are capable of detecting, removing, and protecting against all known types of malicious software. This subtle change re-emphasizes the fact that anti-malware solutions must have the ability to stop all known types of malware. This is simply not possible utilizing existing reactive security solutions. As well, the standard has added a new requirement, 5.1.2. This involves the further evaluation of evolving malware threats for any systems that were not traditionally affected by malicious software. Attacks have become more sophisticated and advanced since the last version of the data security standard was published. The idea here is to ensure better security coverage not only within just the in-scope systems, but outward to systems that are integrated or perhaps attached to the processing systems that are dealing with credit card data. Finally, reflective of the stance that the PCI Council has taken to ensure proof that security controls are enforced, the new definition and requirement 5.4 ensures that security policies and operational procedures for protecting systems against malware are documented, in use, and known to all affected parties. Next, the new changes for Requirement 6.1 involves establishing a process to identify security vulnerabilities using reputable outside sources for security vulnerability information and assign a risk ranking. The idea of the risk ranking was introduced to Requirement 6.2 in the 2.0 standard and is now enhanced and requires security solutions that will help assign and measure the amount of risk that any vulnerability poses to the organization. Bit9's positive security solution can help tremendously with this task in that it introduces visibility to an environment on the front end and can give real-time threat and trust measure to the assets. This greatly reduces the time and administrative effort that's normally required to meet that control. The second part of the Requirement 6.1 enhancement actually calls out for the data that Bit9 can provide up front. It asks for risk ranking to be assigned to vulnerabilities, including the priority information identifying high, medium, and low threat and trust measure. The last change I'd like to identify is in Requirement 11.5. 11.5 now calls for the deployment of a change detection mechanism, rather than simply a monitoring mechanism. For example, now we need monitoring tools that can control and understand change. Bit9 has the ability to control change. Therefore, unauthorized change can be stopped, and this helps to relieve the administrative burden associated with analyzing change after data collection. The 11.5.1 regulatory change calls for a process to respond to any alerts generated by the change detection solution. This is further proof that the security standard now requires a move away from passive measure to a more proactive security approach, where analyzed data is available in real time and can be acted upon immediately to effectively guard and protect all of our critical systems and the data that they utilize.